And we're back with more exciting adventures of the Incredible Hoax. I am Chris.
I am Mark.
So we did an episode about COVID and entertainment
Mm-hmm.
and where we are, where we think we're going, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Let's do COVID and sports. I guess particularly football, because me and you pretty much just really only watch football. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you see happening? What do you see going on? What do you see? What do you think with football? Should they play? If they do, how do you think it's going to turn out? What's your early too way too soon to call thoughts on football?
Well, my initial thought is knowing what we know, how contagious COVID is. How in the world could you have touch football, a physical sport where there's physical contact,
Full contact football.
full contact, and spit going all over the field and sweat, all that. And how could you hope to do that and not have issues with COVID breakouts? I don't see how you could do that. I mean, I saw on the internet where some of the players are asking the NFL to, what's your plan? Give us a plan. It's like, well, what plan could they have? There's no vaccine. I mean, you almost just have to go for it and take the risk or postpone it a little longer. Right. So I don't see how. I don't see how they go another 2 weeks and not announce that it's going to be a shortened season. I think at some point common sense is going to kick in. So there's no way we can do physical, because at some point the players union, they're going to throw a fit. That's where we're going.
Well, there already is like a debate about shortening the preseason. Like the union wants it down to 2 games.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
To me, there should be like a 2-game preseason anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's all a waste of time and money. I don't think the owners can't make that much money off of the preseason. It's just they can't, can they? I mean, there's nobody in the stands.
Well, the way
I know they force them to buy the tickets.
They kind of force it. It's kind of a built-in package.
Yeah. Waste.
So they're getting the money off the top. That's the thing. As long as people are willing to pay that price up front, and they have been, that's been the thing that the fans have been mad about for the last
forever
14, 15 years.
Well, I guess answer the question. I guess take it line by line. Should they play this season? Period.
Knowing what I know right now, I'd say no.
Really?
I don't. How can you play? It's so contagious. One person could infect, 53 people.
I think you got to go for it. I think they should play. That's easy for me to say here in my cozy little home here, and I'm not out there going through it. But I thought all the business closures and stuff were pretty premature anyway, and I've not agreed with a lot of the forced closures. I've sort of felt it should have been an individualized thing where people make their own decisions. Having said that, I don't know that you could hold a player. I'm not sure how I want to phrase this. I mean, if a player opts for their own personal safety to not play, I don't know how you could punish them. You'd have to allow them the opportunity to not play if they felt personally threatened by the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought that, like I said, I thought that way about bars and everything else. I think it should be the individual to get you should let that bar be able to stay open, and then the individuals decide whether they want to go or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I've fallen on it, more of an individual rights thing versus a blanket deal. But having said that, I completely understand your apprehensions. And it's not a hill I would die on either. If enough evidence came to tell me, hey, Chris, that isn't the way it works, I would be totally open to changing course. It's definitely not a hill I would die on.
Yeah. Well, there's rumors of these lawsuits that people are thinking about if some states or cities or well, let's put it this way: if a company tells its employees, we're a non-essential business, yes, but as of August 1st, we're going back to normal operations. And if you want your job, it's there. But if you don't show up, we're going to replace you.
Right.
And then that person's like, wait a minute, I don't feel comfortable going back to work. I'm going to sue you to get my job back, or I'm going to sue you for wrongful termination. So there's legal trappings here that concern me.
Yeah.
And you could apply that to sports also. The idea of a player not feeling comfortable, is he going to get suspended if he doesn't show up? You know, is his for each game that he misses, is he going to miss his paycheck?
Right.
So those are things they got to think about as well. To me, it's like, why go down that hole? You know, that let's just skip that. And, you know, give it another maybe 2 months to see if we can have a breakthrough. That would be my preference. That would be my advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if the NFL or sports in general was my buddy, it's like, hey, give it 2 more months. Let's see where we are in 2 months.
Then you just work out. You just pick up the schedule where it would have picked up off. You know, where it would have picked up. You just pick up the schedule from what's already set.
like a half season. Like if we're using NFL as an example. Yeah, if you're going to start on October 1st, well, whatever games we were going to do
that's why
that weekend, just pick right up there and go.
Well, you know, baseball, that was my first thought. Well, why don't they just pick up baseball at the schedule as it is, just pick up from there? But then the whole thing was money. The owners didn't want to pay for games not played. The players did want to get paid for all the games. Blah, blah, blah. They had to work all that out. So, I don't know. This all gets so... It's all...
Yeah. It can give you a migraine thinking about.
Yeah, and which I've chosen not. Honestly, I've chosen not to think about a lot of it. I've disconnected from a lot of news and other things because it's too much. All of the negativity. It's a whole other show we can talk about with news and negativity and stuff. So I haven't overly dwelled on it too much. Kind of just take it as it comes and let somebody else worry about the problems. Having now stayed on football, switching gears. Does Dak sign? Is Dak a Cowboy next year? Is Dak a Cowboy 2 years from now? Is Dak the franchise guy for the 5 years from now?
Well, I think the Cowboys are playing it right. They signed him to the franchise deal. This is one of those. Okay, you think Dak clearly thinks he's elite, so this is his year to prove it. I don't think he's elite, and I think Dak is going to keep telling himself that he's elite, and I think he'll walk. Mm-hmm. And he'll be in a different uniform in 2021.
So he's Kirk Cousins. He's the next Kirk Cousins. He's that guy that's going to keep getting franchise tag until he finally goes and signs that deal, and you find out he's just kind of mediocre.
Yeah, well, and I've been comparing him to Kirk Cousins for 2-3 years.
Right.
And I'm fine with that, but he's not fine with that. He thinks he's Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or somebody like that, and it's like, no, those are elite quarterbacks. They actually play well against winning franchises. You don't.
Yeah.
When he plays against winning franchises, he is often not showing up till the third quarter.
Right.
Elite quarterbacks don't do that.
Right.
So if he wants to know why the Cowboys are kind of like, you want how much money?
Well, I mean,
and they still offered him $100 million guaranteed. They were still going to overpay for him, and he passed on it.
Should have took that deal.
So my last thing I'll say about this Dak thing is, Dak, got to tell you, just because you're the starting quarterback for an elite franchise does not equal that you're an elite quarterback.
Yeah. Quincy Carter was the quarterback there for a while.
Yeah.
Well, that tell you.
Exactly. So just because you're with an elite franchise doesn't mean you're an elite quarterback. And he thinks he is elite. He is not. You look at this past season. Every time he played a winning team, he lost.
Yeah. And
he played poorly. Now you said, well, he threw for 4,900 yards. Yeah, because he beat the dog piss out of the crappy teams.
Yeah.
What do we care if you beat up a team you know, oh, he won 35 to 10 over
Yeah.
and it's just it would name a crappy team, you know, the Redskins or somebody. And you're like, well, so how'd you do against the Chiefs? Well, we got our ass kicked. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, with the new coach coming in, and we know this is a way scrappier coach. This is a way more fighting coach. He's not Mr. like Garrett was, and you know,
Yeah.
with what's his name? I can't
The
think of his
clapper
name.
they call
Can't
that,
think of his
Garrett.
name.
Mike McCarthy's our
Mike
coach,
McCarthy.
yeah.
With Mike McCarthy coming in there, you've got a real emotional NFL proven Super Bowl winning coach. So
yeah.
it'd be interesting to see how Dak works under that, where he doesn't have just like Mr. Good try guy. I think McCarthy's going to get his ass when things don't go well.
Right. And
And,
rightly so, because he has no excuses.
Right. I switching to the Titans. Well, can I just say something? I actually think that we can win
All
it.
means.
I think we can win it all. I think we can win it all. My only fear is Mahomes. Mahomes is Holmes is a
He's in
unique
his prime, yeah.
is in his prime early.
Yeah.
And he's one of those guys. He's like a Manning. He'll be around. He'll be circling the Super Bowl every year he's in the league, I think.
Yeah.
So now we got a new guy in town in the AFC. I think having said that, the Titans are ready to be legit. I think they're ready to be legit. I think it is close.
Yeah.
I mean, we were this close. We were a quarter and a half away last year.
Yeah.
With a matchup that I think was favorable in San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Mahomes was special. They won the Super Bowl fair and square. I mean, it's Mahomes.
Right.
I can't be mad. Mahomes is the man. Mahomes is the man. Anyway, I think my Titans are this close. What do you think?
Well, I thought that was a really the beginning of something really wonderful with the Titans last year.
Yeah.
It was they took a step forward for the first time in over 10 years as a franchise. Yeah. It was one of those breakthrough seasons. That's the word I was looking for. Sometimes having maybe not the elite quarterback, but having the right guy at the right spot. Tannehill, it was really special what he did.
Yeah.
To bring in competent play at the quarterback position, because that's what all we needed. We didn't need somebody to be 6,000 yards every season, but what he gave us was that kind of dependable, solid quarterbacking, and I think he's young enough he can actually improve. So I like that. I love that we got Derrick Henry locked up in that contract. Love that. There's a lot of things to be excited about. I expect their receiving core to improve.
A.J. Brown's a stud.
Yeah, they're going to get better there. I think they were smart with their draft and adding key players to help their front seven on offense and defense. Mm-hmm. So they're by all appearances, it looks like they're going to be even better next year. Yeah. So it's exciting.
The main thing is can they lock down the offensive line yet again? That was a little shaky. Because the offensive line, which was started off a little shaky in this little bit. The Titans last year proved one of my philosophies, and I think we talked about it on the show before, and I know we talked about it off the air. The philosophy of just of normalcy.
Right.
You've heard my take. I'll repeat it here. So many times in any endeavor, in any job even, just being normal is plenty, and it's enough. You don't have to. Mariota wanted to treat every play like it was the last play of the Super Bowl, and you need a touchdown to win.
Yeah.
Sometimes just being normal is exceptional.
Right.
And Tannehill to me is just normal. Romo, I thought, suffered from this. Romo would not just be normal, and it would bite him in the ass. It's like, well, why do you just... Throw the ball away. Why didn't you just take the check down? Why didn't you just... Why did you do that? And Tannehill makes these really good decisions of just normalcy. Of just like, boom, he just takes a gun, boom, takes a gun. Next thing you know, you're winning the game. And the same can be true for a lot of things. You know, look at artists; they go swinging for the, hey, I've made $1 billion being folksy. Let me just go electric out of nowhere. Well, the album tanks, this tour fucking tanks, and the next album they're like, well, sorry, we tried that looks right here. Let me go back to folksy. And everybody's like, well, fuck you. It's all rut now. So it's like, if you just were normal, you just delivered. Do Coke. You couldn't just make Coke. You had to be exceptional and you ruined it. If you just stayed normal. The philosophy of being normal. Just taking what's given you.
Yeah.
So many times, that's the winning formula. Normalcy is the winning formula. So many times.
Yeah. You get these players that... And sometimes there is truth to it. They feel like they have to carry the team. They have to make... They're being relied on to come up with the big play. And they feel this pressure, but often it's a self-imposed feeling. It's not, there in reality. Sometimes it's real. I mean, with the Cowboys, I think Romo certainly felt that because he never had a defense the whole time he was there.
Yeah.
So he felt like he had to. I have to score 35 points for us to have a shot every game.
Right.
So I think that was valid, but Mariota, I just think he's just one of those guys that just. He had happy feet, and you weren't gonna. He just naturally had that. So unless he has like a good visit with his therapist, I don't think he's changing that.
Yeah, and he said that in interviews. I'm not changing. And it's like, well, I'm not sure it's a good thing.
If he could learn to relax and take one play, you look how calm like Joe Montana was, one play at a time. Brady certainly had that. Hell, Peyton Manning was calm in one play at a time. So great quarterbacks have that. And if Mariota could ever kind of get to a point where he relaxed, took one play at a time, he could have a resurgence. But if it doesn't change that, then he's a career backup.
Yeah, and I think Gruden's a really good fit for him. I think him going out to the Raiders is a really good fit, and I think Gruden's creative and imaginative enough that they'll figure some things out. And I think he's got a good shot at a career resurgence there. But if it doesn't work, I don't really know what's left other than just being that backup guy that bounces around and like becomes at best ends up like Fitzpatrick, where you have like half seasons of glory and. Yeah. Things like that, where Fitzpatrick has made a career out of half years, He's good he'll be amazing for a half a year and then screw up the other part.
Yeah. I fear he's going to go down the road of like that Derrick Anderson. You remember him? He had that one spectacular year with the Browns, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was.
And then after that, he just never, he'd have like a moment here or there, but he mostly was remembered for... really all the interceptions and turnovers.
Was it Gerback? It came out of San Fran, went to KC, was really good. And then they signed him for a fortune to go to Baltimore after the Super Bowl, thinking like, man, with that defense and Gerback at quarterback, we're going to be a stud. And he just nothing. Was it Gerback?
It could have been. It could have been.
Who was that Niner? It was a Niner come 49er. Then he went to Baltimore. I can't think of his name. Like where he just never like. There's just so many examples of quarterbacks. Where, Okay, we'll end with this question: Brady, Cam Newton, who has a better year in their new spot? Cam taking over Brady's spot, or Brady down in Tampa? Who has the better year?
Oh wow. I would say Brady will have the better year. I think the deal with Cam Newton was he's been in decline in the last 3 years. Part of it because of the injuries and things. Mm-hmm. So I think when your body kind of starts breaking down, and you never were that efficient as a quarterback to begin with. Brady, on the other hand, he's just so smart. He knows he's not going to be asked to do a whole lot by Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
So I think he can get by with just being smart and doing just enough.
Normal.
And being normally right. Cam, I just don't think his body will let him have a resurgence. I just don't see it.
I actually agree with everything you said. And then on top of that, at some point, Cam can't help himself. And Belichick's going to tolerate the personality to a point.
Right.
But then it'll hit. Because you can already see Cam's been talking some smack about how the offense is going to be able to call plays that they haven't called in 10 years or whatever, something like that, 20 years or whatever.
Right.
Well, at some point, Belichick's not going to tolerate that. And I mean, Gronk was suffocated in that New England climate. And Cam's 10 times more flamboyant than Gronk was.
Right.
Or is.
Yeah.
So I don't see that eventually that's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, I understand, there's this idea of, because he feels like he's been dissed, and he wants to show everybody he still has it.
Yeah.
That's a natural response, and I'm into that.
Right.
However, truth is he's been banged up off and on quite a bit the last 3 years, and him wanting to run a lot and to fit the mobile quarterback mode, I didn't think it's a bad idea for him at this stage of his career. It's like, dude, you need to be like settling like Randall Cunningham, where he segued into more of a pocket passer. I don't know if Cam has the desire to even do that, but that's what his focus ought to be. And if Belichick can't make him a pocket passer, then nobody can.
That's story over. McNair, when he learned to really become heir, you got co-MVP out of him.
Yeah.
Co-league MVP out of him. So
yeah,
there's definitely something to be said to that. I just don't think Cavs ego. At some point, people are what they are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's football or if it's in your own home. So the way you're wired is the way you're wired, and you don't overcome your own wiring.
Right.
And that same goes for Belichick. Belichick's wired the way he's wired. There's only so much tolerance in his heart for people like Cam. So at some point it becomes a bad marriage. I'm surprised they even did it, but he was so cheap as worth the risk, blah, 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 I get it.
Yeah.
But at some point, people are what they are. They just don't change. People just don't change. Call me pessimistic, people just don't change. They just don't.
Well, I think Belichick will and can put up with quite a bit. I think if his griping turns into him no longer like obeying what they want him to do, when that stops, well, I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm not going to run that kind of play, and he starts doing that kind of stuff, then he's toast. He's toast. It's one thing to have what they'll consider constructive criticism, but it's another to be like critical to the point of, well, I'm not going to run that play no more. Well, don't you do that to Belichick, and you're going to find yourself on a bench.
Yeah. Well, I think Cowboys should have a good year. I'm optimistic with McCarthy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see For one, I'm never excited about the Cowboys anymore. I find them boring. I mean, no offense to your team, but y'all are kind of a boring team to watch.
They've been boring. And with all the talent we have, they shouldn't be boring.
Yeah, you shouldn't be boring. They are kind of boring to watch. So with McCarthy, I'm ready to see some anger. I want to see some anger on that sideline.
Yeah.
I want to see some human emotion. I'm ready for that.
And if we can't get number 21 the ball, then let's just forget it.
You got one
Zeke,
of the top 3 backs in the league. You should.
Zeke last year, Garrett wasn't giving him the ball. I'm still going, dude, it was your last year, your contract. Go down swinging. Give your main guy the ball.
Hey,
and he wouldn't do it. And I was just like, dude, this is your last chance. This is your last audition for this job. Give Zeke the ball. Nope.
On the Cowboys note, but something we've not talked about, kind of left field here. Did you see, I think it was Rex Ryan in the offseason went off on Amari Cooper for like out of nowhere. And not the guy that was a defensive coordinator, but the guy that was the coach of the Jets, that Ryan. Is it Rex Ryan?
Yeah, Rex Ryan, because Rob Ryan.
Yeah, okay, so it was Rex.
Yeah.
Rex Ryan, the former coach of the Jets, that guy. He was like dissing Amari Cooper bad about how he was like, it was a horrible signing. He's lazy. He's a horrible, rotten human. He went off, and everybody's reaction on social media was like, "What the hell's wrong with Amari Cooper? Doesn't do anything. Like, he never talks. You never see him in headlines. He just plays.
Yeah.
Like a normal guy."
Right.
And Rex Ryan went off on him. Did you see any of this stuff?
No, I totally missed
You
it.
get home, Google Rex Ryan and Amari Cooper, and watch out, because he was like, he dissed him personally and everything. And I'm like, I don't know that they had anything to do with each other. But yeah, Rex Ryan was like going off on Amari Cooper. It was like weird. It was weird. You need to watch.
I know two things about Amari Cooper. I know one, that he's a talented receiver, and I love that he's on our team. Second thing, for all these people that are critical of him, it was known. It wasn't a secret. He was injured all last year, and the man wanted to keep playing. Because he wanted to let his team down, and everybody's expecting him to be this great player. He kept playing. People should respect that.
Yeah.
You know, really. Well, his season, he didn't get the stats that we expected because he was injured. It was not a secret that he was banged up all year.
Right.
He went through at least 3 different injuries in succession.
Right.
And to still. He still was over 1,000 yards receiving, and that was on one good leg. So Rex can go screw himself.
Well, speaking of people with foot fetishes that can go screw themselves, I guess we'll just have to say adieu.